Hi everyone, welcome back to the American Innovator. Leanne and I continue our epic journey around Australia, Tasmania, and New Zealand. We leave the Great Barrier Reef and we go to Sydney. Now, Sydney is literally one of the most beautiful cities in the world, and it has one of the most spectacular harbors in the world. Look at this thing. It is just over the top, and it has some of the most recognizable landmarks, namely the Sydney Opera House and the Sydney Bridge. So when we first got there, we were kind of had to pinch ourselves because the weather was perfect. And this is fall in Australia, and yet we had beautiful sunshine. We caught a boat and we rode all over the harbor, and we saw all kinds of amazing sights, a lot of beautiful homes. I think most of the homes there, I think you can't even get into a cracker box for under $1 million. It's one of the wealthiest cities in the world without a doubt. There are people in their yachts sailing everywhere, and this is the ambassador's house for Spain, and then a seaplane taking off. This is the original airport, actually. If you didn't come by ship, you flew there and you had to land at that sea airport. And there were boats everywhere going underneath the bridge and all throughout the harbor. It's a very active city. It has a very interesting layout as well because it's just in and out of inlets everywhere you go. And this is a beautiful harbor that's very, very famous, that a lot of people like to go to. A lot of high-end buildings here. They're building huge projects, including a 6-star hotel. And then you can actually hike over the bridge. Of course, tourists are coming there by the gazillions, it seems like. There's cruise ships everywhere, docked in the harbor as well as actually along the port there. And we went into the Opera House. We got a tour of that on one of the days we were there, and it is amazing. Jan Utzon designed this, and believe it or not, he worked on this for years and years and years and never saw it completed. It has a self-cleaning tile roof, it has a lot of fantastic things. It actually is a series of seashells put together, but he actually didn't see it finished. Could you imagine that? And then the Sydney Bridge, again, is one of those spectacular things. Every morning I went and ran, and I saw these crazy sunrises, and I stopped and did some time lapses as I ran back and forth across the Sydney Harbour Bridge. And then one morning we went to the fish market, which is I think like the second biggest in the world. They ship, hundreds of tons or thousands of tons of fish every day all over the world, from abalone to these giant crabs. Now that crab that you just saw me with, that was an $800 crab taken from deep, deep, deep in the ocean off of Tasmania. So we had a great time at the fish market, extremely interesting, very diverse, everything you can imagine. Huge tuna that went all the way to Japan to their fish markets. And then this is looking back over Sydney from out by the harbor where you actually come in with the big ships. Now this area is very interesting as well. This is out where Bondi Beach is. This is world famous for surfing. I went in and actually did some body surfing, had a great time. The water was not too cold. I just jumped in, had a great time, and away we went. It was just really cool. And then the next day we went to the zoo. Now they also have a world-class zoo, one of the largest in the world, I think the second largest zoo in the world. And we saw some very interesting animals. Of course, the most interesting of all is the kangaroo, or marsupials, that they have a lot of. And these guys are fascinating. They let you get right in close to them. And then ostriches. But then the most important one, the Tasmanian devil. People have called me a Tasmanian devil. I'm kind of wild and crazy. And this little guy is wild and crazy. And then one night, just before sunset, we went and hiked the bridge. Look at this, teams of people going up, hiking on the bridge. They have you clipped in and you get to hike over the Sydney Bridge. It's fantastic. The views are great. We went up and had a fabulous dinner one night, and I got this time lapse of the cruise ship pulling out of the harbor and past the Sydney Opera House. We had an incredible time, and the next stop, guess where? New Zealand. And you will not believe how beautiful it is as we leave beautiful Sydney.